Greetings! Mantore79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. In today's video, the deck profile we're going to be making one for is a D standard formats, Dragon Empires, Dragonic Overlord with cards from D-SS05 Festival Booster 2023. Alright then, let's get started. First up, the Ride deck. And now for the Ride deck. For the cards in this Ride deck, we have Grade 0, Lizard Runner Undu, Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor Bar, Grade 2, Dragonite Nehalem, and Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord. The Grade 0 starting unit, Lizard Runner Undu. Like any other starting unit in the D standard format, he features only one skill. When written on top of, if you're the second to go to Grade 1, you get to draw a card. The Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor Bar. His skills are, the first skill, as a Vanguard, when written on top of by Dragonite Nehalem, by paying a counterblast of 1, if the cost has been paid, you may search your deck for any Grade 1 unit and add it to your hand. So ideally, this first skill will allow you to add maybe a Perfect Guard or any other Grade 1 that's mainly used for your deck's later game strategy. The Grade 2, Dragonite Nehalem. His skills are, the first skill, when written on top of by an Overlord, you may move Nehalem from your soul to the rear guard. So if this first skill, as long as you manage to ride an Overlord like Dragonic Overlord or Dragonic Overlord the end on top of Nehalem, you'll be able to secure yourself a rear guard Nehalem whose second skill will support your Vanguard Overlord later in the game. The Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord. His skills are, the first skill, as a Vanguard or a rear guard, whenever it attacks an opponent's rear guard, the attack cannot be blocked by your opponent with any cards in their hand. So with this first skill, you can more or less have a almost absolute attack on any opponent's rear guard, since your opponent cannot use any cards in their hand to guard with. And the second skill of Dragonic Overlord, as a Vanguard, once per turn, after this unit's attack hits, you may counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost has been paid, you may restand your Vanguard Overlord with the additional cost of reducing your Vanguard's drive check by 1. So with the second skill, it's more or less a standard restanding ability for the Dragonic Overlord series. And with that, we've just about covered the deck's Ride deck. Next, let's get on to the main deck. And now for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 1 Drag Ritter Hall, 3 Grade 1 Twin Buckler Dragon, and 1 Grade 1 Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude. The Grade 1 Drag Ritter Hall. Skills, first skill, continuous. When this card will be discarded for the cost of your Vanguard with Overlord in its card name ability, it may be regarded as discarding 2 cards. Second skill, auto. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of your Vanguard with Overlord in its card name's ability, you may call this card to your back row rear guard circle. If called, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Halt, it's a support card for the Dragonic Overlord series with its skill, the first skill. Just by discarding it for the cost of Dragonic Overlord, it's treated as 2 cards instead of 1, thus decreasing the number of cards you have to pay from your hand for any Dragonic Overlord's cost that requires you to discard cards from your hand. For example, Dragonic Overlord the end. And the second skill, which combos the first skill. When discarded for such cost, mainly for Overlord's cost, you can then Superior Call Halt to your back row to serve as a potential 13,000 point booster from the back row. The Grade 1 Twin Buckler Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So for Twin Buckler Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding a card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all these standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Twin Buckler a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. The Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. Second skill, you may have only up to 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in the deck. And third skill, if your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Plays at the cost of, discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When activated and paying the cost, you can block one enemy attack. But ideally, Elementaria Sanctitude is a potential no-cost perfect guard against opponents who play decks that specialize in having Vanguards with triple drive, for example, Grade 4s or Vanguards that increase their drive checks with skill or card effect. Against such opponents, you'll be able to play a no-cost perfect guard of Elementaria Sanctitude. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 1 lineup. Now it's time to get on with the Grade 2 lineup. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon, 4 Grade 2 Berserk Dragon, 4 Grade 2 Signature Beloved Duststorm Baxter, and 4 Grade 2 Steel Beloved Duststorm Ethan. The Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. Skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost has been paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with Overlord in its card name, put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you do not reveal a card, countercharge 1. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard of Overlord in its card name attacks, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Horn Dragon, it's a support card for the Dragonic Overlord series. If it's skill, the first skill, when called to the rear guard and paying the cost, you have the chance to check the top 7 cards of your deck to search for a Dragonic Overlord to potentially Persona Ride with or Cross Ride with, depending on what you add. And the best part is, this first skill is refundable. In the off chance you fail to get any cards with this unit's skills, you can countercharge 1, thus regaining the counterblast you paid for the first skill. And second skill, well, as long as you've got Burning Horn in the rear guard, whenever your Vanguard Overlord attacks, your Burning Horn Dragon will then get a plus power of 5,000. And the best part is, this second skill is stackable. For the Dragonic Overlord series, specializes in restatting and attacking multiple times with their Vanguard. For every attack your Vanguard Overlord makes, you can keep stacking more power into Burning Horn Dragon, making it a powerful front row attacker to have. The Grade 2 Berserk Dragon. Skill, auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard of Overlord in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of battle. Then, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's Grade 2 or less rear guards and retire it. So for Berserk Dragon, another support card for the Dragonic Overlord series with its skill, just by attacking while your Vanguard is an Overlord, not only do you get to turn your Berserk Dragon into a potential 15,000 point attacker for the front row, but as long as you're willing to pay the cost, you can also wipe out your opponent's field of rear guards. The Grade 2 Signature Bullet of Duststorm Baxter. Skills for skill, continuous as a rear guard. During the battle, this unit attacked by your opponent's unit other than the one in the same columns as unit. This unit cannot be hit. Second skill, Auto as a rear guard. When your opponent's rear guard in the same column as this unit is retired during your turn, choose from your vanguards, and that unit and this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Baxter, a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. With its skill, the first skill. This first skill is more or less like a pseudo-resist ability against opponent's attacks. For your opponent cannot attack Baxter of anything other than the unit who's in the same column as Baxter, thus making him almost invincible against normal attacks. And the second skill, as long as you've got Baxter in the rear guard, whenever you retire an opponent's rear guard in the same column, you can then give power to your Vanguard and rear guard. And the best part is, this skill is stackable, for if you have the chance to retire multiple rear guards in the same column as Baxter, you can keep stacking more power to Baxter and Overlord, giving more power for both units to potentially pressure or finish off your opponent with. And the grade 2, Steel Bull of Duststorm, Ethan. Skill, Auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard's attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Ethan, another good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, whenever your Vanguard lands a successful attack on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, as long as you're willing to give up Ethan your own rear guard, not only can you draw 1 card, but also countercharge 1 to give yourself more cost for skills. By my opinion, Ethan is a more powerful version of the Grade 1 Dragon Monk Gojo, whose skill can only let you countercharge when you boost a successful attack from your Vanguard with Gojo. With Ethan, his skill is more flexible. He just has to be on the rear guard when your Vanguard lands a successful attack, thus giving you, and the best part is, he doesn't just let you countercharge 1, but also let you draw 1 card, increasing your hand size. So overall, Ethan, a more superior countercharging unit to have over Dragon Monk Gojo. And of that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 2 lineup, and now it's time for the Grade 3 lineup. And now for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, The End, and 2 Grade 3 Fighting Flame Dragon Red Exarch Dragon. The Grade 3 Dragonic Overlord, The End. Skills for skill, continuous as a Vanguard during your turn. If your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's drive cannot be decreased from card effects, and it gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. Cost, counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards from your hand. If the cost has been paid, stand this unit, and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord The End, it's one of the main Grade 3s to ride this deck. With its skills, the first skill, so long as you have the basic version of Dragonic Overlord in your Vanguard Soul, you get a little extra power and your drive check cannot be reduced, mainly by the second skill of Dragonic Overlord The End, which is, after attacking, by paying the cost, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And like I just mentioned before, with the first skill, the drive -1 will be negated, thus allowing you to have 2 Vanguard attacks with 2 drive checks, increasing your defenses or at least getting more chances of getting triggers. The Grade 3 Fighting Flame Dragon Red Exarch Dragon. Skills for skill, continuous as a rear guard or guardian. If your opponent's drive check or damage check reveal a trigger unit this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power and plus 10,000 shield. And the second skill, Auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, perform all of the following. First ability, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you do not retire, draw a card. Second ability, cost, remove a over trigger from your drop zone. If the cost is paid, this unit gets plus 15,000 power until end of battle. So for Red Exarch Dragon, it's one of the new cards that was released in the D-SS05 booster. With its skills, the first skill, whenever your opponent drive checks or damage checks a trigger unit, your Red Exarch Dragon can then serve as a potential 23,000 point attacker for the front row or 10,000 point shield to guard with. And the second skill, just by attacking with Red Exarch Dragon against your opponent's Vanguard by paying the cost, you can activate 1 or 2 abilities. The first ability lets you potentially wipe out your opponent's field of rear guards or draw more cards from your hand depending on the conditions of the field when you activate the skill. And second skill, as long as you're willing to give up your over trigger from your drop zone, your Red Exarch Dragon can serve as a potential 28,000 point attacker for the front row. And alrighty, that just about covers the deck's grade 3 lineup. Now let's get on to the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1 Grade 0 Dragon DD King of Resurgence Drag Vita over trigger. 4 Grade 0 Burning Flail Dragon critical trigger. 4 Grade 0 Stealth Dragon Madowazu critical trigger. 3 Grade 0 Flare Veil Dragon draw trigger. 2 Stealth Fiend Amavira heal trigger. And 2 Grade 0 Cure Flare Draco Kid heal trigger. The Grade 0 Dragon DD King of Resurgence Drag Vita over trigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect, choose from your vanguards, and stand it. So for Drag Vita, it's a over trigger for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you can get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features an ability unique to it alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. The Grade 0 Burning Flail Dragon critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose from your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Flail Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, after boosting the attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Burning Flare from your rear guard into your soul, not only can you build up your soul for later soul blast, but to also give your remaining attackers in the field, vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. The Grade 0 Flare Veil Dragon draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Flare Veil Dragon, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of its skill are met, you can turn your Flare Veil Dragon into a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. The Grade 0 Stealth Fiend Amavira heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Active if it's battle in this second attack this turn or more. So for Amavira, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can turn your Amavira into a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Amavira is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding and attacking multiple times their units, either Vanguard or Rear Guard. And the Grade 0 Cure Flare Draco Kid heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cure Flare Draco Kid, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of its skill are met, you can turn Cure Flare Draco Kid into a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Cure Flare is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, either their Vanguard or Rear Guard, by skill or card effect. And with that, we just about cover the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers we are playing in this deck, we are playing 1 over trigger, 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now, after having just explained the deck's build and card effects, next let's get on to explain the deck's main playstyle. So for the main playstyle of this deck, first you just normally ride your right line from grade 0 to grade 3. Then on the next turn, you just cross right to Dragonic Overlord at the end. Then on your left and right columns, first you get 2 copies of Baxter. Put him in the back row, rearguard circles on the left and right column. And in the front row, call cards that retire opponents' rear guards like Berserk Dragon and Red Exarch Dragon. Then simply, you just, in the battle phase, you use Berserk Dragon and Red Exarch Dragon's skill to retire rear guards in the same column as Baxter, using their skills to later stack up more power into your Vanguard. So that's pretty much the main playstyle. Just cross right the Dragonic Overlord at the end, have at least 1 or 2 Baxters, have 1 or 2 rear guards that specialize in retiring rear guards, use their skills to combo with Baxter to stack up more power to your Vanguard for Dragonic Overlord at the end's attacks. And with that, we just about covered the deck's main playstyle. And with that, I just about pretty much covered the deck's main deck build, the card effects, and the main playstyle meant to be used with this deck. So first off, I want to say thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show your support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you all soon.